Hi friends, it's Slate from Farmview Creators. I've got one last summer craft before I give into the reality that it's almost fall. We're going to do the Firefly Minis from the Rust Covered Cottage by Christina. I love all the minis that fit into the interchangeable frames. I think they're so cute. I love being able to change things up, and I do it frequently around the house. Kind of drives my family crazy. So I am pulling off the pieces from the 4 little mini signs, and I am categorizing them by what they are. Lots of wings, lots of fireflies in this kit, lots and lots of tiny little stars. So I just kind of put them together by how I was going to paint them. And I am using Slate Blue from Couture. This is a luxe metallic paint, so even when I use my dead flat on it, it will still have that shimmer. And now I'm going to go in with some Simply White and Spanish Sunrise, which are acrylic mineral paints from Couture. And I am going to work on an ombre effect. So I painted the top and the bottom with that same slate blue. And then I am using my chippy brush to just dry brush on some white. I needed to be able to get more, so I put some on my parchment paper. I'm also going to spray my water. And then I am just blending and blending and blending and blending until I get it the way I want it to look. I like to use my fingers for blending. I just feel like I have more control, but I've seen people use sponge blenders and blender brushes and makeup sponges and things like that. So I added in a little bit of Spanish Sunrise to give that firefly glow. On this one, I wanted more of the blue and the white and a more gradual fade. So I just keep working until I get it the way I want it, adding either more of my slate blue or more of my Simply White, and just working it down until I get it the way I like it. And it did try to keep slipping away from me. And then just giving it some touch-ups there. And I loved how it was turning out. Decided to add a little bit more, and I did grab some water on my finger to kind of blend it more easily. And give it a little cleanup. On the Summer Magic one, I decided I wanted it to have that same ombre effect, but more of a circular pattern. So I started with my Simply White in the center, and then went around the edge with the slate blue, and then kind of used a squiggle and then a circle blending. And I would add some more. I would grab some water on my fingers. I would put my finger on the blue slate brush just to pick up a little bit more blue, and then the same with the white. And then I was just touching up some spots with the blue on the edges. I really like how all 3 of those blended backgrounds turned out. It was a lot of fun to do too. I'm going to give all of those backgrounds a nice good dry, because I do not want anything to bump them and get them out of whack. So there's all 4 of them getting a nice dry. And then for the mason jar, I decided I wanted to kind of have it streaky but blendy as well. So I added a little bit of the slate blue, and then I went in with more white. And I do have a little puddle of water on my parchment paper. So I do have watered down white in there, and then some full strength white. And I'm going in with some more Spanish Sunrise, and then just blending that all in. And I think it turned out so pretty. And then y'all know I like to do my dots with the end of a paintbrush, so I am just going around and doing that. I do this in a triangular pattern. And then I'm gonna let that have a good dry. Tried not to put my dots too close together. Now let's work on all of the cute little accessories. So I am going to start by adding an uneven swirl of Simply White on the bottom of each of the fireflies. And then I'm basically tapping a little bit of the Spanish Sunrise and then blending it with that white. I kind of want it to have a white halo around the yellow to give it that glow effect. Did any of y'all used to catch fireflies and put them in a jar and then see how many you could get and then free them all at once and see how beautiful they were rising up into the sky? My sister and I used to love to do that. And then I painted my stars with the Spanish Sunrise. I'm going to give the wings a good coat of the Simply White. Then I'm going to go in with British Gray for the top of the mason jar. And I'm going to use a sponge stopper for that because I don't want it gooping up in the little crevices of that piece. And then I was kind of thinking about what color did I want to paint the other letters. So I pulled out my Night Sky, which is a really nice navy color. It's not a muted navy, it's just a nice full-bodied navy, I guess you would say. Then I decided to do my Summer Magic in that same British Gray. I got a little bit on my Night Sky, and so I just fixed that on up, no big deal. Adding a second coat to my little stars. They are tiny. They're so cute. Turn it around and give those wings another coat. Hit those navy letters again, and then the British Gray letters at one more time. Really trying to make sure I have even coverage and full coverage at this point. Then I'm going to use Barn Door on the little heart that goes onto the larger firefly. And then I'm going to go in with another Luxe Metallic. This one is called Black Pearl. So it is going to have that shimmer. And again, it will still be shimmery even when I use my dead flat top coat. And I am going to put 2 coats of that on the heads and antennas of my fireflies. Hit that little heart with another coat. And then I put the mason jar lid back on my sticky board because I am getting ready to move on to waxing. And I'm giving all the pieces a good dry before I wax. I'm going to go in with my Debi's DIY Dark Wax and the brush that I dedicate to it. And I am just going to hit the edges of each of the pieces. And if I get too much, I am going to wipe it back. Super easy and user-friendly. I'm going to hit the letters. I'm going to go around the mason jar, add a little bit throughout, and then get the edges of all of the background pieces. And I hit those scored letters in that one piece so that they will show up a little bit better. And then I am going to go in with my dead flat, which I forgot to show you. Tried, but it's a pretty full bottle because I just opened it. I'm hitting all of my pieces with a thin yet even coat. This takes out all the shine and gives it that gorgeous matte finish. And I'm also going to get those background pieces, and as I'm drying, you'll be able to see it turn more matte, but you can also see that with that blue slate, you can still see that shimmer. So giving all that a good dry, gave my little pieces a good dry, and now I'm taking them off the sticky board and putting them where they're supposed to go. Not perfectly, but I am just trying to make sure I have my pieces where on the background that they belong on, and that they are fitting together and looking nice together. They're just so cute. Getting all those tiny little stars. There are a ton of stars, and they really add so much to the kit. And some of them go inside the curves of the letters. There we go. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And for a second, I thought I was missing a star, and it was still just stuck on the sticky board. So now we're going to go in with our art glitter glue. I love this glue because it does dry clear, which is really good in this project because I did have quite a bit of excess, and I tried to wipe it back as much as I could. But those stars are just tiny, and I wanted them to stick, so I kept going back and forth between putting the glue directly on the star or putting the glue on my background board. I don't know which worked better. Possibly putting the glue on the background board first and then dropping the star on there. That was probably what I preferred, but I still went back and forth, and there I got a little excess glue, so I'm just wiping that back, then fitting my pieces together, making sure I have them right where I want them. And you can still wiggle your pieces after you use the art glitter glue for a little bit, and that's very helpful. It also does not stick to your fingers and make your fingers crusty as you're using it. And so it is my preferred glue. I have used that small bottle completely up and then gotten the larger refill bottle, and I love that they do that because I feel like it's less plastic waste, which is something that I'm trying to be conscious of. Then I'm tilting the boards just to make sure that my letters are lined up with the score lines on the background pieces. And then getting those tiny little cute little wings on there. And again, sometimes I would put my glue directly onto the background, and others I'd put it on the fireflies. I alternated. Those tiny little stars. I just love them. Oh, how pretty. All right, one more. And this one had the most little tiny fireflies and the most little tiny stars. And I did have to wiggle the words into place after they'd been sitting there for a minute, and I was still able to do that. So again, when you use the art glitter glue, there is some time that you can move your pieces slightly. On this one, I decided to work from the bottom up instead of doing all of one type of piece, since it was so intricate with those tinies. So I got my night sky on there, and it is a little bit high, which I noticed after I had put on the skies and the stars. So there I am wiggling it around and getting it where it actually needs to be. And there you have it. I love them. Here it is in the beaded frame and then in the shutter frame. In the comments, let me know which frame you like it best in, because I don't know how to display it. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe.